Indiana schools are searching for solutions to protect kids from gun violence in the wake of the latest school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, that killed 19 children and 2 teachers in May. Schools have increased security efforts in the last decade, but as Binta Bouthier reports, some school officials feel there's only so much they can do to protect kids in classrooms.
Some schools are focused on making their schools more secure. Jay County School Corporation approved plans in 2018 that involved prevention, hardening, and arming its buildings. Arming meant giving some teachers access to guns. Superintendent Jeremy Goley says the measure was necessary in their rural district, where police response times are slower.
We have schools that police officers are not going to get to in time, and we know that. So we provided an armed response capability with trained staff who volunteered for that purpose in schools to be able to access a firearm and stop the killing.
The measure is controversial, but Goley feels there's no other choice.
Our mission is to teach and care for kids. So it is a burden, but it's necessary now in the world we're living in, and we're going to keep kids safe.
Jay County got grant funding from the state that covered some of the costs. They also received support from local government and outside groups like Sandy Hook Promise. Goley says their anonymous reporting system is a surprising success. He added more than 500 tips were sent in since implementation 4 years ago.
In our own district, I can probably assess about a half a dozen students who we were able to intervene through. They had mental health crisis. So a suicidal ideation, suicidal attempt. When a tip comes in that's life-saving, it goes straight to the dispatch center in our county 911 center, and officers can be dispatched to a home to help whoever needs help.
Other measures are simpler, like having room numbers visible from the hallway rather than attached directly to a door. That way, emergency responders can navigate the building faster. Goley isn't alone in his desire to harden schools to make them more secure. Paoli Junior Senior High School Principal Ed Wagner says it's a tough balance between being overly cautious and not cautious enough.
It needs to be to the extreme, but where kids feel comfortable.
After the Parkland, Florida shooting, the state offered Indiana schools metal detector wands. He routinely uses these as kids are getting off buses in the morning, mostly to catch pocket knives or vape products. But he doesn't see the wands as a realistic solution for larger schools searching for threats.
I don't know how you could effectively use a wand on all those kids if you're trying to get, you know what I mean? I'm just being realistic.
The school has a camera system and Wagner can see the feed from his office. Escalated smoke detectors have been installed in the bathrooms. They alert him and other staff when tampered with. They can pick up on raised voices and abnormal air quality. Next, Wagner wants an alert system for when doors are propped open that shouldn't be. Tracy Cadell is a Ball State University professor for educational leadership and former superintendent. He sees these efforts as earnest, but they miss the mark.
We will take any type of safety measures, certainly from school resource officers to cameras to having only a certain number of doors being open in the schools, but it's not really getting to the root of the problem. The root of the problem are the proliferations of guns in our society.
He doesn't agree with arming teachers and wants solutions to be centered on people, but relying on grant funding means schools don't plan long-term, which can make investment in technology rather than counseling and staffing more viable. The incoming president for the Indiana School Resource Officer Association, Julie Quisenberry, also prefers investing in people. She sees Indiana's new laws requiring specialized training for SROs as encouraging.
It's so critically important for school resource officers to know those things and how it is that we should work alongside of students that have endured trauma and are currently going through various traumas, and how it is that we can come alongside of them and help, not aggravate a problem, but to help.
The Indiana Department of Education published school safety recommendations in 2018, which included increasing availability of grant funding to be spent on school security. For Indiana News Desk, I'm Binta Bouthier.
More than $13 million was administered this year through school safety grant applications for school resource officers. That's about $8 million more than was spent on equipment.